But the reason that I think these are actually getting a little bit silly is because if you are a narrative player, there are so many rules. You've got core, arena, elites, annual, and the specific one for the annual there is build your own specialist. Now you've got dispositions as well. Narrative players are the hardcore players here. You've got to carry around 6 books just to, like, what? Wait, did I even say commanders? I must have, right? It's too much. And there's no way to effectively balance everything in the game. And it's such a shame that GW isn't trying, almost. I wish they would. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This is genuinely what I wish. I wish the commanders were balanced and could be used in tournaments. I want to play commanders. Hello everybody, it's Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm going to be covering the latest White Dwarf article, which releases on Friday. However, if you subscribe to the White Dwarf, you get it on the Monday of the week that it releases. I don't, but luckily people in my Discord do. Now, some of you may have watched, anything with a typical narrative structure before. I'm going to flip that on its head. I'm going to give you my final thoughts right here and now. Then I'm going to read through all of the dispositions and everything, just in case you haven't already seen it. But I kind of assume that most of you have, actually. Firstly, what are dispositions? Secondly, what is our takeaway from them? Thirdly, I'm going to read the dispositions. Dispositions are a narrative-only addition to the Kill Team game. They're pretty cool. They're almost like a sub-faction, except every single faction has access to the same few disciplines. No, they're not disciplines. To the same few dispositions. With that in mind, shall we crack on? However, narrative only. What does that mean for us Kill Team players? Well, allow me to make this very clear by first saying, have you heard of LVO? That's the Las Vegas Open. Or is it Los? I don't know. Las Vegas? Las Vegas? Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. It is currently the Kill Team tournament that has sold the most number of tickets in the world. Ignoring Warhammer World, but nobody pays attention to that. If you would like to see a lot of coverage about the largest tournament in the world so far, I would love to give that to you. However, I am but a poor, broke person. If you're interested in that, there's a link in the description to how you can help me get out there, and more importantly, help not only you, but the community at large to get more Kill Team content delivered directly to your screen. Anyway, what's the takeaway of dispositions? So firstly, I'm going to say it right now, I actually think they're pretty cool. I really like them. I would like to see more. And the fact that they are narrative only is probably a good thing. Because, let's be honest now, I think what we've all come to learn is that when GW says this is narrative only, what they mean is we literally haven't playtested this at all. And that leads us to 2 conclusions. Firstly, it's kind of piss poor, isn't it? This isn't some small indie studio that's struggling to make ends meet. This is the top performing stock in the FTSE 250. This is the largest miniatures company in the world. And do they have one guy in a basement writing rules? All we know is that they definitely haven't moved their rules team over to proofreading the rules. Holy crap. Am I right, guys? I don't really see why they can't release something that is narrative and also well balanced. And if something's well balanced, why not put it into the competitive side? But that's another thing. The other thing we could take away from this is generally that GW is attempting to give the Kill Team community content and expand the game for them. And that's really cool, and I obviously support them in doing that. However, the fact that they are willing to release, what's the word I just used? Untested content, let's say, is actually, in my mind, a good sign. Even though I just kind of implied it was a bad sign. But the reason I think it's a good sign is because if GW is willing to do it, then damn it, I think the community should allow the community to do it as well. I'm going to be honest, guys, this stuff that I'm about to read to you isn't very balanced. And a lot of the stuff that, the community guys put out there is more balanced. So the next time you hear about somebody saying, hey, let's change what the primaries are, let's throw in a few secondaries, let's tweak the secondaries, let's rethink the maps, I say go into it with an open mind, because you never know, it's quite possibly more balanced than anything GW is going to put out ever again. Okay, let's talk dispositions. Now, I'm not going to be reading out every single word, just know that actually I would highly recommend you do pick up this month's White Dwarf, because this is a pretty good article. Now, this is where we see that there are 5 possible dispositions, and it also clearly says at the top there, in narrative play games, you can select a disposition for your kill team. Now, it runs alongside everything else, so your sub-faction, your faction, etc, etc. The first up is Ferocious. Now, notice that essentially this just gives you access to 3 new tactics. Bloodlust. For 1 CP, use this tactic when consolidated with a Ferocious model from your kill team. Until the end of the phase, when that model consolidates, you can move it up to 6 inches instead of up to 3. For narrative games, you don't need the most OP tactics. You just want to, you know, that's fun. Bloodlust, you're moving extra fast after making a kill. Heavy Blow for 1 CP. Use this tactic when you pick a Ferocious model from your kill team to fight in the fight phase. Until the end of the phase, improve the AP characteristic of melee weapons that model is armed with by 1. E.g. AP -1 becomes AP -2. Again, pretty cool. I like it. And finally, for Ferocious Mania. Again, only 1 CP. Use this tactic at the end of a fight sequence in which a Ferocious model from your kill team takes an enemy model out of action. So long as that model is within 1 inch of an enemy model, it can immediately fight again. Now that is really good. Also, do note, you might be looking at the way they've laid this out and be thinking, oh, this is tiered. Kind of like you got with Specialists, where there was tier, you know, if they were level 1 Specialists, they can use this one. If they were level 2, they can use this one. Not the case. You could just use all 3 on any model in your kill team. Which takes us over to Guerrilla. Feigned Retreat, 1 CP. Use this tactic when you fall back with a Guerrilla model from your kill team in the movement phase. That model can shoot later in that battle round. Now, this is really cool. So this is a tactic that certain factions already have access to. Typically the Eldar. This is looking good. Yeah, that's a nice one. Coordinated Attack, 1 CP. Use this tactic after a Guerrilla model from your kill team has resolved all of its attacks against 1 enemy model in the shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with ranged weapons by other Guerrilla models in your kill team that target that enemy model. Raider. Use this tactic when you pick a Guerrilla model from your kill team to fight with. For that fight sequence, that model can pile in and consolidate in any direction rather than having to end the move closer to the nearest enemy model. Now, I've got to be honest, I actually quite like that tactic. It's also not kind of an auto-take, but you can really see that in some situations people would play that. You would use your pile-in or consolidate either to get onto an objective or to kind of run round the side of another model and get the guy that was actually, you know, 4 inches away. Yeah, very cool. Headhunters Critical Hit, 1 CP. Use this tactic after a saving throw is failed as a result of an attack made by a Headhunter model from your kill team. Increase the damage inflicted as a result of that attack by 1. This is ridiculous. And let me tell you why. You only have to use the tactic after the saving throw is failed. If you were using this tactic before you made a hit roll, then it would be like, okay, there's a little bit of a toss-up. A little bit of a question. But this, you just get to increase the damage by 1 right before you make the injury roll. That's really strong. The Hidden Blade, 1 CP. Use this tactic when you pick a Headhunter model from your kill team to fight with in the fight phase. Until the end of the phase, that model can only make a single attack with 1 weapon, but on an unmodified wound roll of a 4+, that attack inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to any normal damage. So there's actually, I'm going to say, a little bit of a query in the way that's written. It says, until the end of the phase, that model can only make a single attack with 1 weapon. Now, obviously, I assume that what they mean here is you negate all of your attacks. Let's say you're an attack 5 model, whatever, an attack 3 model, that's a bit more normal. Instead of making 3 attacks, you spend 1 CP, you use Hidden Blade, you roll a single dice to hit. On the wound roll, assuming you hit, on a 4-up, you deal a mortal wound. And then the attack continues, assuming they have more than a single wound. However, listen to me here, that model can only make a single attack with one weapon. Could that also mean that, let's say you have a combat knife and a chainsword, whatever, you make a single attack with the combat knife and then the chainsword can still attack, as per usual? I don't know. Then finally, target eliminated for 1 CP. Use this tactic after an enemy leader or commander is taken out of action as a result of an attack made or psychic power manifested by a headhunter model from your kill team. Gain D3 command points. You know, anytime you can get CP, that's good. However, relies on killing a leader or commander, obviously. Then we have Dread. Scary. Fear. Dread tactic. 1 CP. Use this tactic at the start of the take nerve test step of the morale phase. Pick 1 Dread model from your kill team. Until the end of the phase, opponents must roll 1 additional D6 and select the highest when taking nerve tests for their models whilst they are within 6 inches of that model. That's actually really good. So you're going to use that when you know the enemy is going to be taking a nerve check. For example, with Heretic Astartes, you know, you can give them, I think it's the Night Lords, for, you know, every enemy model within 1 inch, there's a minus to your leadership. But you take that, it might never be used. On this, you wait to spend the CP until you know they're going to have to use it. No escape, 1 CP. Use this tactic when an opponent picks an enemy model within 1 inch of a Dread model from your kill team to fall back. Until the end of the phase, that enemy model and all other enemy models within 1 inch of your model can only fall back on a D6 roll of a 5+. Now that's pretty cool. So for those of you unaware, or possibly confused between a retreat and a fallback is the move you make when you're in combat and you then move out of combat, as opposed to a retreat, which is when you're charged and you then move back 3 inches. Witches from the Drukhari have a similar ability, but it's on a 4+. Finally, we have Reaper, 1 CP. Use this tactic when an enemy model that is shaken or has 1 or more flesh wounds is reduced to 0 wounds as a result of an attack made or psychic power manifested by a Dread model from your kill team. That enemy model is taken out of action. Do not make an injury roll. Now that's pretty interesting. So the model already has to have a flesh wound, or be shaken, and to shake you have to have a flesh wound, or they have to have broken. But if they've broken, who cares? You kind of just guarantee that they're dead. Pretty nice. Finally, we have Covert, Hidden Hunter, 1 CP. Use this tactic when you pick a covert model from your kill team to shoot with in the shooting phase. Till the end of the phase, if the firing model is obscured from the target, ignore all negative modifiers to hit rolls and injury rolls for attacks made by that model against that target. I mean, that's actually pretty nice because you're removing, it's basically an Omnispecs or an Auspex for 1 CP. You're removing not only the injury roll to hit, but also to the injury, which is pretty good, Conceal, 1 CP. Use this tactic at the start of the shooting phase. Pick 1 covert model from your kill team that is more than 8 inches from any enemy models. Until the end of the phase, that model cannot be chosen to shoot, but counts as obscured. If it would already count as being obscured, it counts as being at long range as well. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. Somebody in my Discord pointed out that that should probably be the sub-faction. Well, you know, there are some sub-factions, like for the... Is it the Ravenwing? No, that's the Dark Angel guys. The Crow Boys, the Emos. Oh, what are they called? Raven Guard. For the Raven Guard. Where it's, if you are over 12 inches, you count as... Not obscured. Is it obscured? Or were you just at -1 to hit? I can't remember. This tactic should probably be that, because I don't think anyone is taking that tactic where if you're over 12, you're -1 to hit. Who cares? Literally the worst sub-faction in the game. Never take that, which is a real shame. This, however, it has a bit of play to it. That reduction to 8 inches, very, very poignant. Then we have Ambush, 1 CP. Use this tactic when you pick an enemy model as the target of a charge from a covert model from your kill team. If the charging model is obscured from that enemy model cannot react to that charge. Ooh, I really like this one actually. So if you're ever charging from behind cover, you can't be overwatched. Really strong tactic. I like it. And then there are a few missions, which are all, you know, cool. As somebody that is currently, you know, trying to build missions for a tournament pack, I'm reading all the missions. Narrative, match play, everything. These are all narrative missions though. So just to quickly put at the end here why I think this is OP and unbalanced. Because those tactics on their own weren't terrible. Some of them were pretty good. And if they had been in the core book or the elites book for a specific faction, probably would have been OP for a single CP. They probably should cost 2. But the reason that I think these are actually getting a little bit silly is because if you are a narrative player, there are so many rules. You've got core, arena, elites, annual, and the specific one for the annual there is build your own specialist. Now you've got dispositions as well. Narrative players are the hardcore players here. You've got to carry around 6 books just to, like, what? Wait, did I even say commanders? I must have, right? It's too much. And there's no way to effectively balance everything in the game. And it's such a shame that GW isn't trying, almost. I wish they would. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This is genuinely what I wish. I wish the commanders were balanced and could be used in tournaments. I want to play commanders. And I want everyone to have a fair chance of winning. There you go. I've said it. It's out there. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed learning about dispositions with me, Glass Half Dead, and yourself, a cool dude. Also, LVO, please check out that fundraiser. It would really help not only me, but also the community to get some really good Kill Team tournament coverage. Also, please check out my Patreon. That would help me personally. But again, everything that goes into my Patreon is going straight back into the channel. I'm currently building up streaming equipment so that I can start to get mobile streams from local tournaments at first. But it's honestly all just going straight back into Kill Team content. Finally, my Discord, that's a thing. If you want to talk to people that generally know what they're talking about, instead of me, who kind of waffles for, ooh, that's too long, I really hope I cut this down, then you should definitely check that out. Anyway, this has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you've had a good day, and I hope you continue to have a good day. Goodbye.